Welcome to Breakdown. Today, we're jumping right into the most complex and fascinating machine on the entire planet, the human body.
It's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. This incredible symphony of systems that keeps us going every single second. But here's the thing. To really get a grip on what happens when things go south, we first have to appreciate just how brilliantly it's all designed to go right. And for that, we need a bit of a roadmap.
So we're going to look at the body through three different lenses. First up is anatomy. That's the what, the actual parts, the structures, the blueprints. Then you've got physiology. That's the how. How do all those parts actually work together? And finally, we get to pathophysiology. Think of this as the what if. What happens when things go wrong? This is going to be our guide.
All right, first stop, the absolute heart of our survival. These are the systems that handle our fuel and transport. You can think of this as the body's engine room, where all the power is generated and shipped out. Now, look at these two systems. On the left, we've got the respiratory system, the lungs. That's our air intake, pulling in that vital oxygen. And on the right, the circulatory system, the heart and all those vessels, that's the high-speed delivery service. The crazy part? One is totally useless without the other. They're a team.
Let's actually trace that journey for a second. So you take a breath in. That air goes deep into your lungs, into these tiny little air sacs. And right there, this incredible handoff happens. Oxygen jumps from the lungs into your blood. Instantly, the heart gives a powerful pump, and that fresh, oxygen-rich blood is sent racing out to every single cell in your body. We're talking from your brain all the way down to your toes.
And here's the really brilliant part. It's not just a delivery service, it's also the trash pickup. The same system grabs all the carbon dioxide waste from your cells, brings it all the way back to the lungs, and poof, you breathe it out. It's a perfect, non-stop loop.
Okay, but all of this automatic stuff needs a director, right? A boss? Well, that's where the nervous system comes in. This is the body's mind-blowingly complex command and control center.
And right at the core of it all is the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is the supercomputer. Yeah, it handles your thoughts and ideas, but just as important, it's running all the background software that keeps you alive, stuff like telling your heart to beat and your lungs to breathe without you ever giving it a single thought.
A huge piece of that automatic control comes down to this, the autonomic nervous system. And it's basically got two modes. The sympathetic system is your gas pedal. It's the fight-or-flight response that kicks in when you're stressed, speeding up your heart and getting you ready for action. And then you've got the parasympathetic system. That's your brake pedal, the rest and digest mode. It chills everything out. Keeping those two in balance, absolutely critical.
Now, all this amazing internal machinery, the engine, the computer, it all needs a protective case and a way to get around. That's the job of the musculoskeletal system. It's both the body's frame and its armor.
206. What's that number? Well, that's how many bones make up the adult human skeleton. They give us our shape, they protect our insides, and they give our muscles something to pull against so we can move.
Let's talk about that protective armor, starting from the very top. The skull is basically a custom-built helmet, a solid case of bone with one main job, shielding that supercomputer, the brain, from getting banged up.
Then as we move down, you get the spinal column. This thing is a marvel of engineering. It holds us upright, but it's also a flexible, bony tunnel protecting the spinal cord. That's the main information highway connecting the brain to everything else.
And wrapping around our core, you've got the rib cage. It's a flexible shield that literally cages our most vital organs, the heart and lungs, keeping them safe from harm. It's an incredible piece of natural armor.
Of course, a frame doesn't do much without some power. We've got three different kinds of muscle to get the job done. Skeletal muscles are the ones we control to walk and talk. Then there are the involuntary ones, smooth muscle, which works inside our organs and blood vessels, and cardiac muscle. That is the specialized, super tough engine that is the heart itself.
So, we've seen how the body is built for success. We've seen the engine room, the command center, the armor. Now we go back to that first question. What happens when it breaks down? Because now we can see it's not just one little thing failing, it's a domino effect.
And this brings us right back to pathophysiology. Remember, it's the science of failure analysis for the human body. It's all about figuring out what happens when that beautiful dance between our anatomy and our physiology gets totally messed up.
And the ultimate state of system failure, the big one, is a condition called shock. This is the crisis point where that amazing delivery system we talked about just can't get enough blood and oxygen to the body's tissues anymore.
See, shock isn't a single event, it's a cascade. A problem with the heart, a major injury, a severe infection, any one of these can kick off a devastating chain reaction that just ripples through the entire body.
So here's how those dominoes fall. The brain senses the crisis and slams the panic button, kicking on that fight-or-flight system. The heart starts hammering. Blood vessels clamp down, trying to force the pressure back up. But it's a losing battle. The cells are still starving for oxygen. So they switch to a desperate emergency power mode that doesn't need oxygen. The catch? This backup plan creates toxic acid that floods the system, and that's what leads to organs shutting down one by one.
This is the moment where, to put it simply, the life support chain is broken. That beautiful, efficient loop of delivery and removal we saw before, it's completely failed. And that right there is the biggest takeaway. The human body is so deeply interconnected that one major failure in one single area can bring the whole magnificent machine to a grinding, catastrophic halt.
It's a heavy thought, but it's also pretty profound, isn't it? This unbelievably complex machine is working tirelessly, 24/7, for you. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. Knowing how it all works and just how delicate that balance is, how can we do a better job of supporting it?